Ever wonder what makes pancakes taste so good? It's all thanks to one thing: maple syrup. That sweet golden liquid that drips off your pancakes and waffles, the ultimate breakfast treat. But here's the cool part. Did you know maple syrup comes from trees? Yeah, trees! And get this, making maple syrup isn't as easy as shaking a tree and watching the syrup pour out. It's way cooler than that. It starts with a tree, takes some science, and ends with a delicious golden bottle. So, in this video, we're diving into the world of maple syrup. From its history to how it's made, you'll learn it all. But before we talk about that, let's take a step back. How did someone figure out that you can make syrup from a tree? Well, the story of maple syrup goes way back, like hundreds of years back. It all started with Native Americans in North America. They were the first ones to figure out that maple trees held a secret. Inside the tree, there was a sap that could be turned into something sweet and delicious. Legend says they discovered it by accident. Some say a tree was tapped, and the sap dripped into a cooking pot. When the sap was boiled, it turned into syrup. When the Europeans arrived, they learned the technique from Native Americans, and then they started making syrup too. Using new tools and techniques, the process was much easier. And over time, syrup became more than just food. It became a tradition. Families would gather around during the maple season to collect sap and boil it down into syrup. It wasn't just about the syrup. It was about spending time together. A few hundred years later, maple syrup became a big part of life in places like Canada and Vermont. And they became pros at it. Today, Canada produces about 70% of the world's maple syrup. That's a lot of pancakes covered in golden sweetness. Not many people know this, but maple syrup was once used as a trade item. People valued it so much that they'd use it like money. It wasn't just a topping, it was special. Pretty sweet history, right? Now that we know where it all started, it's time to find out why maple syrup is so unique. We know that it's sweet and tasty, but there's a lot more to it than that. First, maple syrup is completely natural. It's not made in a factory or cooked up in a lab, it comes straight from the tree. Something so delicious is made by nature itself. Another thing that makes maple syrup stand out is its flavor. It's not just sugary, instead it has a rich caramel-like taste with a hint of nuttiness. It's a flavor you can't get from any other sweetener. And guess what? The taste can even change depending on where it's made or the time of year it's harvested.